Hi guys, I'm Maya. I'm going to talk about our daily life in Xian. So every day was really different. There was always something new going on. No 2 days were the same. We were always finding out new things. But most of our days followed a rough schedule. We attended school from Monday to Friday, and we started at 7:40 a.m., so a little bit earlier than here. But so most of us either walked to school or got rides to school. We lived in these really big apartment complexes, so that's where our walks would start. And most people in China are always working or going to school, so they don't really have time to go to the gym or play sports to get exercise. So each of our complexes would have these things on the right, and they were basically just like, it's the equivalent of like an elliptical without any resistance. So we would always see people using those. I'm not really sure how much exercise they actually got, but. And then, so walking to school in America, you might see people jogging down the street. In China, you see people doing Tai Chi. And so there would be like a couple teachers, and they would just sort of scatter about, and then people would join the groups, and you would see advanced people doing Tai Chi, you'd see beginners. So it was really interesting to watch. And also all the local guards would gather in the morning, and they'd be chanting and saluting, and I don't know what they were saying, but they were standing right next to the people doing Tai Chi, so it was like a really interesting contrast. And then our school day was really long. We went from 7:40 until 5:30 in the afternoon. But we were given a lot of time to like spend time with each other and to spend time with the Chinese students. And so after school, most of us didn't have to be home until around 7 o'clock, 7:30 for dinner. So we were all sort of given time to do what we wanted. Trevor liked to play soccer with his Chinese classmates. Victor liked to play basketball. I sometimes volunteered at an orphanage that was by my house. Annika and Kristen, though, probably saw the most of the city. They had bikes, so they were really able to explore and see a lot. Sometimes they would ride Chinese style, which was when Kristen would ride on the rack that was behind Annika's seat. And you see tons of people riding like that in China. Sometimes we would see like 5 or 6 people on one bike, like some hanging off the side, some off the side, some in front. I have no idea how they balanced, but there are tons and tons of bikes in Xian. That top left picture is the bicycle parking at the high school. Wow. And so you'd see these people on bicycles, and they really use their bikes as cars, almost like trucks. The guy on the right was in Beijing, and he was just carrying like tons of bicycle tires on the back of his bike. And then we'd also see people with like forests on the back of their bike. I don't really know another way to describe it. They had like these huge trees and all these flowers, and I guess they were selling them. But it was really interesting. You could be standing on the street, and all of a sudden this forest would pass by. So there's tons and tons of traffic in China. There are so many people, so in the cities you just get like tons and tons of cars and motorcycles. So at the beginning we were all pretty frightened when we were crossing the street. The traffic rules are pretty lax, so you have people running red lights, not stopping for pedestrians. So at the beginning we had some difficulty, but we definitely got used to it. I remember Ariel came in one day, and she had been running late that morning for school, and so there was a lot of traffic on the way to school. So our host father decided it would be faster if he drove on the left side of the road. So she got to school on time. Xian doesn't have a subway system yet, so when we were going around, we usually took taxis. Taxis are really cheap, and there were so many of them, so it was really worth it. They weren't so fast because of traffic, but it wasn't the easiest way to get around. So on nights and weekends, we usually spent time with our host families, but the weekends we also spent time with each other. We would go to the Muslim quarter, which Max mentioned, to go shopping. We also played games with our host families, like Chinese chess. And we also went on small trips as a group during the weekends. We went to Tong Paradise, and the school that we were studying at, Xian, they also took us to a rural high school, Joji High School, which was about an hour and a half outside of Xian. So we got to spend time with our Chinese classmates and then also the students at this rural school. And we also brought traditions from home to Xian. We celebrated 4 birthdays. So we would all come together and our Chinese teachers would come, and it was really fun. We got the cakes that Victor was talking about. But at each of our birthdays, we had this candle that they would sell at all the bakeries. And it's this lotus flower, and it's closed up. And it has lighter fluid inside. So you light it, and then it starts singing happy birthday. And then all of a sudden, this huge flame shoots out. It's so awesome. And then it opens up, and there are candles on each of the petals. And it's so pretty. You can see it in the picture. And it was so pretty. But we would blow out all the candles, and then the music would keep playing. And it didn't stop. And we had to get Trevor with his pocket knife to like dismantle it every time. And then there would just be like random things that would happen during the day that were always really surprising. I remember throughout our trip actually, but especially at the beginning, we noticed that there were fireworks going off in the morning, at night, in the afternoon, and we couldn't really figure out why. But then we realized, or someone told us that in China they really use fireworks to signify like anything good. So a store opening up, a wedding, what else is there? Yeah, moving into a new apartment. Really, I think like people just set them off for fun because they were always going off. But yeah, so that was, we all got used to them, but you would constantly be hearing booms in the background. And you also see a lot of people selling things on the street. This guy is selling candy. It's like, so it's almost like glass blowing, but instead he's like sugar blowing.